My name is Nick Spencer and I'm AGFA's Chief Clinical Information Officer for Northern Europe, and I'm here in Dewsbury this afternoon with Matteo Fronza, who is a cardiothoracic radiologist working at the Mid Yorkshire Teaching NHS Trust, and I've come to find out about his life in flow. Hi Matteo, it's great to be with you today. As you know, I'm Nick Spencer, I'm the CCIO for AGFA HealthCare in Northern Europe, and I've come to talk to you at Dewsbury today, which is part of the Mid Yorkshire Teaching NHS Trust, to find out about your life in flow. So thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Nick, for coming and visit.
Tell me about how you found your way into your career in radiology.
A bit of a funny story. As a background, I was always been interested in photography and videography. That's been my passion pre-medicine, and naturally I carried that throughout my medical career, and radiology was the obvious choice.
And which bits of radiology were you drawn to first?
Imaging in general, that's the passion. So the better the images, the better my enthusiasm, the more my enthusiasm, and that's pretty much it. I'm a geek and nerd at heart, so yeah. I do like going very deep understanding of the pixels, and I do respect the pixels. And very the pixels good. Hopefully respect me.
Absolutely. And you're a cardiothoracic radiologist, so what's that like, and how did you find your way into that area?
So the alternative passion in med school was cardiology. I experimented a couple of rotation through cardiology. That wasn't for me. But the imaging aspect of cardiac and thoracic medicine is very fascinating, and that's why I combine images plus the interesting part of that of medicine, and that's how my career is formed.
Yeah, and there are a huge range of imaging investigations that are used for cardiology and for cardiac imaging. They make big data sets. So how does AGFA's enterprise imaging solution help you with managing that on a day-to-day basis?
So when it comes to cardiac imaging, a lot of PACS services and solutions struggle with the very large data sets that usually translate into a very clunky and a very interrupted workflow. AGFA EI tends to deal very well with large data sets. For a cardiac CT, we're talking about thousands of images at any one point, and is able to play cine imaging, so pictures in motion, which other systems do struggle with. And cardiac imaging most of the time is in moving pictures, so being allowed to see without any frame rate drop is a very nice to have.
Are there any particular tools in enterprise imaging that help you with cardiac data processing?
Yes, the MPR tools is essential and is one of the highlights of this PACS solution. As I said, the fluidity of it and the agility between switching between different planes is very nice to have, but also the ability of manipulate images on the fly, particularly with keyboard shortcuts, release the operator or the reporter from having to do too many mouse clicks or use the mouse in an inefficient way. And cardiac imaging is very heavy on measurement, so every click you can save makes you a happier man. Yeah.
And you're a recent adopter of our version 8.2. Can you describe some of the new features in 8.2 that have been a real help for you?
Yes. What I noticed is an attention to detail in terms of trying to help and reduce the mouse mileage and the mouse clicks. My previous experience and passion for photography heavily used of Photoshop, and pretty much every mouse clicks counts if you repeat it 1,000 times a day. You don't want to do unnecessary clicks or move the mouse unnecessarily, because that will help you to focus on the review of the images rather than the operation of the tool. So one of the things that have been added on the recent iteration of EI is being a modified or simplified hanging protocol, where you can see we can drop the series instead of drop all the way to the second screen. There's a little pop-up that pops on, and you can just drop the image right to the series rather than traveling all the way across the two screens. There are on-screen commands. The most used ones are zoom, pan, and window, where you don't need any sort of clicks. You just need to move the mouse at the top of the image, and you can manipulate that very quickly. So those are the two things that I noticed with a recent iteration of. Yeah.
Okay. And I understand you also have a hands-free method for reporting.
Yeah. I experimented a lot of healthcare system. Recently I moved to Canada for a year, and that's where I first seen this method. Pretty much it requires handset and foot pedals that frees up your left hand, which can pretty much activate keyboard commands without having to look for them. You can just feel the keyboard and activate shortcuts. That pretty much allows your gaze to remain on images, and the reliable VR or VI is very good at translating your speech into the report, and that combine that with a macros or a structured report can really focus and speed up your workflow.
I know this afternoon, Matteo, that you're working with a cardiac fellow, and I wonder how enterprise imaging helps you with supervision workflow.
Yeah, training is an essential part of our job, and being efficient during training and teaching is essential, because there are a lot of clinical commitments, and most of the time this time is not accounted for. So EI has a very robust way of reviewing and giving feedback to your trainees. The most salient features are co-author workflow and the possibility of giving comments back to the original reporters prior verifications. So if I receive a report from the fellow, I have some sort of disagreement or teaching points, I can just type a message, send it back to him, giving instructions if to verify or not, or to look for areas for review. Down the line, it is possible to download different versions of the same report and see what the contribution of different co-authors are. That's also very helpful for retrospective analysis of a case. For teaching reasons, for legal reasons, that's on the clinical aspects. In terms of the more proper teaching aspect of it, AI has a very robust teaching case filing system.
So while we're talking here this afternoon, if the trainee needs to be in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, there's an instant messaging solution within the software. It's pretty much very familiar to any other sort of instant messaging, but tailored and encrypted for the use of sensitive data within your own hospital. As familiar tools like a drill that can take the attention of on the other hand of the messaging software, and can give you live information on what the other person is doing. If it's typing, you will receive a notification, a live update that someone else is busy doing something. Or if nothing is happening on the other end, you know that the person might be available. Also, this could be intrusive, but there are ways of minimizing that intrusion to your likings. And one of if you don't want to disturb somebody, you can just drop in a message and you'll see the EI software icon just glow, and you know that something has happened. For emergency, you can have the drill, and then pop-up will disturb or interrupt on the other end. And this is very useful for clinical emergencies.
Yeah. And it looked like we were just about to move into talking about the teaching and research module.
Yes. Probably one of the most happy to explore that teaching and research module is a very robust system that allows anonymization of cases, and that can be used in teaching setting with trainees, or in learning and discrepancy meeting which we can only do once a month. Recently I built and designed a course using AI that every trainee can go through over 3 months, and you can split and design the course as you're liking. I split it over 5 weeks, so each week the trainees can access a selection of cases and then send reports through to me, and then even within a week we can go through the same cases and we have one-to-one discussion. But this can be done even with small groups if the volume of trainees is high. The very good things about this solution is that trainees can use the same PAC system with the same controls rather than a DICOM viewer, which can be web-based with limited functionality. So is a training that is relevant to the clinical practice rather than more abstract.
That sounds really interesting. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I'll let you get back to cardiac radiology and supervising your fellow. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Nick.